So you're thinking about veteran benefits in Minnesota? Well, in this video, I'm going to be talking about employment benefit, recreation, a host of others, and of course, my personal favorite, housing benefits, baby. And we're going to get after it right now. First of all, if you're a veteran, thank you for your service, both behind the scenes and out in the open. It means everything to this country. You are the backbone of these United States. So thank you, sincerely, from my home to yours. And don't forget, in the comments below, let me know what unit you served with. Did you do any tours in Iraq or Afghanistan? Why did you enlist in the first place? Or why you chose which branch you did? And if you feel so inclined, let me know where you were stationed at. Service, deployments, all that good stuff in the comments below. We're always interested in our veterans and what they're doing and where they came from that are watching this channel. And if you live in Minnesota or you're considering making a move to Minnesota, I'm going to share about all the benefits of being a resident in Minnesota, and you're absolutely going to love them. Or even if you're someone that's going to PCS or retire here, I believe that Minnesota is the best place for you to call your home base. Our local government loves our veterans, and for you to decide to make Minnesota the place that you call home, they really roll out the red carpet. Ooh, I have a fun fact for you. Did you know that over 6% of our population are veterans in the state of Minnesota? And I personally think that it's very important to be part of a state and a local government, an area, if you will, that supports their veterans, that's actually support that the veterans experience on a regular basis. It's just, I guess all I'm really saying is it's just really nice to be appreciated. And make sure you stick around to the end because I'm going to be talking about those housing benefits. Now, if you don't have a lot of time today, for your convenience, in the description below, there's a whole bunch of chapters so that you can skip around if you want to. Maybe you want to go right to the housing benefits. Maybe you want to hear a little bit about the retirement stuff. Maybe you want to hear about the medical stuff and what I've got to say about that. Feel free to do so. Just come on back and make sure you check out the rest of it. And all of the updates has come from that. And this would be a good time to say this. Click the subscribe button, tap that notification bell, and smash that like button on the way in so that you can be the first to know about the current market in Minnesota. And if you have any disability or service-related connections, then I really think that you are going to find Minnesota has some extra added benefits for somebody like yourself as it relates to veteran benefits that are going to really make Minnesota look enticing for you. My name is Garrett Hilton. We get calls, texts, and emails from people just like you looking for help on making their move to Minnesota every single day, and we absolutely love it. So whether you're making 9 days, 90 days, 9 months, your timeline to be able to move into the state of Minnesota, we got you covered. We are ready, willing, and able, ready to take your phone call. Whether it is Minnesota or not Minnesota, don't care. Call us. We'll get you connected with somebody that wants to be able to help you and knows a lot about veteran benefits and isn't going to give you that crappy runaround. You know what I'm talking about because you've dealt with it already. That's why you stop scrolling. Or if you know your date ahead of time and you want to be able to know how we can do all this and kind of line it up to make your transition into civilian life a smooth one, we're more than capable. We got you covered. I know that it can be a really difficult transition because of over 20 years of seeing it from kind of the 100,000 foot view of the stress and the uncertainty that can happen of transitioning from active duty to civilian life. Man, I'm here for you guys. We would love the opportunity to be able to earn your business on that stuff as well. So feel free to shoot us a call, give us a text, or send us an email. We would be happy to help you in your transition from active duty to civilian life into the state of Minnesota. And we want to give back to you as much as humanly possible because it's you guys that have served us so generously. So now you get the benefit. You get the VA, the frills and thrills after you've done your duty and served your country. You deserve it. You're welcome to this, and we're welcome to help you. And we want to give back and serve to you as best as possible. We've helped a lot of veterans make their move to Minnesota, and we can help you too. We've got many referral partners that are throughout the state of Minnesota and Western Wisconsin. So we got you covered there. If it's in the outskirts, we got your 6. So let's jump into employment benefits for veterans here in Minnesota. Now, Minnesota offers a variety of benefits for veterans in Minnesota, whether that's priority service, employment preference that is currently in play by the Minnesota Veterans Preference Act, giving veterans preferential treatment as it relates to public employment and training programs. It's also known as the VPA. Veterans have priority service for all employment, job training, and related services provided by the Minnesota Department of Veteran Affairs. This means that veterans are given first consideration for jobs, training programs, and other services if a state employer requires a competitive examination for selecting or promoting its employees. An individual eligible for veterans hiring preference who has qualified for that position and received a passing score will have 10 points added to their test scores. A veteran who has a service-connected disability will have an additional 5 points added to the results of their test. They're not sympathy points. Y'all have earned that. You earned that when you were serving our country. You know what I'm saying? So take the points. Awesome. So what they're saying is they have some testing that is required for you to be able to get into the position in the first place. But based on your prior service and also service-related disabilities, they will add points to your score, which is great if you ask me, because I'm sure some veterans aren't that great at taking tests. I don't know about you. Terrible. Awful. C, all the way down. Whatever. D's passing. It's fine. Now, here are the veterans that are eligible for veterans preference. And I'm going to reference my notes because I want to make sure that I give you accurate information that I've found from my research that I've done. Okay? Honorably discharged veterans who served on active duty in the U.S. Armed Forces for at least 90 consecutive days during a declared national emergency, or discharged prior to 90 days due to a service-connected disability. Honorably discharged veterans with a service-connected disability as determined by the VA or their branch of service. Okay? A veteran's unmarried surviving spouse. An orphan of a veteran who was killed while on active duty. There's also several training programs that are offered to veterans here in Minnesota, of course. And this includes career counseling, job search assistance, on-the-job training, and training for special industries and specific industries. Now, you may have heard of the new benefits that remove barriers for veterans who want to form a business. Warrior Rising is going to be a great resource to start. They help financially and give consulting services with live Zoom calls. For instance, once you're in their program, they have weekly Zoom calls, consulting with former, I would call it Fortune 100 companies that will help you to be able to form your business, get it up and off of the ground, running, moving along, especially like a service-based business. Oh my gosh, absolutely. They help with the incorporation, making an LLC, things of that effect. And of course, this is speaking to my personal favorite. Those of you who want to start your own business and be self-employed, be an entrepreneur. Why not? Another really cool fun fact, effective January 2022, the benefit waives the formation fee for new 100% veteran-owned businesses, entities, and relieves veteran-owned businesses of the Minnesota franchise tax for the initial 5-year period. So normally when you start up an LLC here in Minnesota, the cost on top of like filing fees and stuff is probably like $450. But for you as a veteran, fees get waived. Huh, that's pretty great. Now, let's move on to another important subject regarding veteran benefits. Minnesota offers support to their veterans beyond their lifetime. The state has 3 state veteran cemeteries. I don't know. It could be more than that. That's what I dug up. And because I wasn't sure, I've always heard of like Fort Snelling, but there's one way down in the south, there's one way up the north. Just drop us a comment if you want to know which ones, because we can get you the addresses. The state has 3 veteran cemeteries, ensuring a final resting place for veterans, their spouses, and dependent children at no charge. Additionally, as of January 1st of 2023, the Veterans Affairs Life Insurance Program provides guaranteed acceptance of whole life insurance policies of up to $40,000 for veterans with service-connected disabilities. All right, so in this next segment, I wanted to go to the Google Maps, and if anything, to give you a quick run over of the just the VA hospitals that are around Minnesota, and also to just talk a little bit about the medical side of things. So I'm going to look down because I got my laptop right below me, and I'll reference back up. I can't accentuate more just how awesome the medical coverage is in the state of Minnesota as it relates to the VA, considering Minnesota is home to the Mayo down on the southern side of the state, and we've got some of the best VA hospitals in the United States, in my personal opinion. According to public opinion, I think, we're in the top 10, and I looked it up and I couldn't find anything significant about it as far as like, they're in the top 10, but I just, if anything, from my experience thus far with the multitude of veterans that have come to Minnesota, that they've mentioned how they came to Minnesota from living in another state to get the best VA has to offer. So if you look at up in the northern sections, just north, about 40 minutes north of Minneapolis, we've got the Isanti Veteran Service Office. Just in Anoka. I think this one's in Anoka, isn't it? Looking at veteran service officers. Nope, we're in the wrong place. Okay, let's switch over here. All right. So, in speaking to medical care that is in the Twin Cities and the barely outlying areas, so like within 40 minutes of the center of downtown, either downtowns, would have to be like if we zoom in here, you've got the Maplewood VA Clinic. We've got Minneapolis VA Healthcare System Clinic. We've also got, let's see, St. Paul over here. Yep. And that's on the St. Paul side of things. The Northwest Metro VA Clinic is huge. Now we can go down to Mankato. Mankato's about an hour to the southwest. Rochester's about 2 hours to the southeast. Or a little bit, yeah, I'd say that's kind of pushing it. It's probably like an hour and 45 minutes, something like that. St. James VA Clinic, which is in St. James, Minnesota. That's a pretty darn good-sized clinic. Montevideo Clinic is within an hour and 15 minutes, I think it is. Yeah, it's like an hour and 15 minutes of Minneapolis at least. And just to name one, but the other thing to consider is that not all of our veterans and not all of you veterans out there want to necessarily live right in the Twin Cities. So, okay, fine. We can talk about stuff that's in the upper states. We got Hibbing VA's got one. Hibbing's about 3.5 hours away from Minneapolis. Bemidji is about 4 hours and 15 minutes. The Ely VA Clinic is, 4.5. Yeah, it's like 4.5, 5 hours. And that one is, let's look at directions. If we were to flash over to directions, it is approximately 234 miles, 4 hours and 20 minutes away. And that is, not even an hour away from Duluth. They do have a micro clinic in Duluth for veterans. So it's just, I just think Minnesota, as far as the medical care side of things, is absolutely phenomenal for the veterans that come to Minnesota to reside here. I think they serve both veterans that are residents and not at the same time. I'm not 100% about that. I do, if anything, give you a story. I've got a gentleman that served a number of years ago, and he wound up losing the bottom right half of his leg, which he lost his foot, and he's got a stub, right? An infection had been created, and in Minnesota, he got that done, and they had it managed, and it was fully healed within like a year, and he was having a really hard time with healing when he was down in Florida, and came up here, and they took care of him, rip snort, and within a year he was not back to normal per se, but like he was functioning in life and getting things moving again. And from what I understand, that he was told by other veterans that he'd worked with that had amputated limbs, he was just like, dude, we got so much better care in Minnesota. So anyways, that's why I tout the state of Minnesota for our medical care. It's just if you ask me, second to none. Where I think we're very, very blessed in the state of Minnesota. So that's a little bit about medical benefit. If you've got, if anything, just to kind of give you all an idea about just how much medical support there is in the state of Minnesota and how encompassing it is, because it's almost in every city that we have a full-fledged clinic, which is pretty tremendous. And again, you've got the Mayo Clinic in the state of Minnesota, and there's lots of referral that goes back and forth, as I understand it, that's available to you. So that's a little bit about the medical side of things. Again, drop a comment below if you've got any questions. If you look even lower in the description, there's always those links and stuff that we said we were going to offer, so they're there as well. So why don't we bump over to the next section, which is, what are we looking at now? Oh yeah, we're going to look at Veterans Affairs offices. Okay, so here we are with the Veterans Affairs offices. Let's get back to the Google Maps. Okay, everybody, we're going to talk about the side of things as far as veterans offices go, where you can walk in and be able to get service, to be able to get questions answered, potentially file to get your DD-214 if you're not somebody that is super internet savvy, or if you've got a family member that needs to do so. These are offices that you can get support in. So the Veteran Services offices out of the Twin Cities. If you look here, I've highlighted the area, and it's probably going to be, let's see, it looks like there's 10 of them. You've got stuff on the outer lying areas of Washington County. We've got on the outer outskirts of Washington County right here. This color is not working for me. Let's go to red. On the outskirts of the county, you've got upwards towards Elk River, which is like, this is like, I'd say 35 minutes away from the cities. Within the cities, of course, you've always got the urban suburban type of locations. These are all within 10-15 minutes of the airport, within 10-15 minutes of the downtown area. So definitely busing access. If you don't have a vehicle of your own and you don't want to spend the money on an Uber, you get here via the busing system. There's also added benefit of being within the Twin Cities as it relates to being, whether you're a disabled vet, the discount cards available for the busing system, and of course the light rail. The other thing with this medical care piece is when you do get referrals, you don't necessarily have to stay within that same VA clinic, but the best way to find that out is go to your Veteran Services office. So this is just kind of a flavor of what how many Veteran Services offices we've got. Let's go all the way up for the Veteran Services stuff. Here we go. This is perfect. This will work out great. You can see it looks to be that at least in almost every county there's been a Veteran Services building. Yep, absolutely. Becker County, Clay County, Beltram County, Douglas County. That's a larger one. Crow Wing, which is kind of like right dead smack dab in the northern middle of the state, in the northern region of Minnesota. Get over by the Point, over by Lake Michigan. There's at least 4 to 5 of them that are within an easy driving distance, within an hour of living in Duluth. There's 3 of them in Duluth. So that's just a little bit about the veteran services buildings. And I think what we can go for next, and I think we could talk a little bit about game licenses and stuff next. So let's go on to that. Thanks so much for watching this particular section. And again, links are below in the description. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about hunting licenses and DMV type of stuff. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to read this from the major screen, my main screen, because I don't want to give you, because it's a little nuanced and there's a lot of words. So one of the things, as far as you veterans out there with proof of 100% service-related disability, you can get a free small game license, which is, state and waterfowl, state pheasant stamps are not required with this license, which is kind of cool. It's kind of like the Waterfowl Plus program. Anyway, age 16, because the federal duck stamp does come on it, but it's also, it's required for anybody that's 16 and up. To be able to obtain that, you can get 1 free deer license, so you could shoot a deer. You've got a free deer license per year. The deer license is just for 1 weapon type, so it could be archery, it could be buckshot, it could be muzzleloader. I wonder if they've got that. Oh my gosh, they do. It could be that, but you got to choose that one. You're going to need proof of residency as far as that goes, proof of military service, and your DD-214. So, and we're going to talk a little bit about that in the housing stuff as far as the VA loan goes. So if you haven't already gotten that going, that's another thing that we can point you in the right direction. We're going to have some directions down below, and put that in the comment section if you went to the link and for some reason the link was dead and it didn't work out right for you. You can always give me a call. And just ask questions, because like I said, we love our veterans here, and more than happy to help, because that's why I made this video in the first place. Parks and Rec, you can get, so if you're 100% service related disability, you can get a free state park pass, so you can drive through and you can walk the trails for free, and to any number of state camping sites. I believe you can, I'm not sure if you can camp for free 100%. I think if anything, oh yeah, that's right, because you got to be able to buy the pass. That's right. Is that if you're 100% service related disabled, you get a free pass, which is pretty wicked awesome. It's a big deal, because those passes are quite expensive. And for those that aren't 100% service-related disability, any disability that you would have as it relates, and you are a veteran, there are discounts that are at your avail. Again, links are below to the mn.gov for Veterans Affairs. So, as it relates to active duty members do get quite a few benefits. As I understand it, you can get a discounted fishing license, and we've got this, I suppose you could call it like a combo package that's available, and those come at an extreme discount for active members. Again, for you veterans that are no longer active duty, that's where all the benefits, the major benefits kick in. For folks that have transitioned from active duty to civilian life, and that's really, in many cases, that's what a lot of this video is going to be about, is those that have already done their time or put in their time rather, and served our country for an extended period of time, longer than 90 days, that have ultimately left the service and now are either a reservist or they are done, retired, if you will. And as it relates to the DMV, as far as driver's licenses go, if you have more or greater than a 60% disability and you're receiving compensation from the VA, you get a free driver's license, which is totally cool. I think that's awesome. You potentially almost die for our country, and we give you a free license. And like I said, in the housing benefit stuff, which is my favorite part, we talk about that VA loan, which is coming up. And here's some more details about the free driver's license stuff. Disabled veterans who have 50% or greater disability rating from the VA or a 40% disability rating and have a lower extremity amputation are eligible for the disabled veteran designation. And that also comes in with your license plates too, which is kind of cool. The veterans that must provide an original copy of the following documents as proof of eligibility: their DD-214, DD-215, NGB-22, VA disability letter with rating percentage, and Minnesota concealed handgun license or license to carry with a veteran designation. On top of that, you can get disabled veteran license plates, as I just mentioned, which is super crazy because your registration is way cheaper. It's nuts. It's so cool. They're a special license plate. Yeah, let's talk about that. They're a special license plate issued to honor and provide benefits to veterans with service-connected disabilities. These plates offer certain privileges and parking benefits to facilitate the mobility and convenience of disabled veterans. So here's the eligibility and how to obtain this license plate. And that would be over here. So that is just support our troops. That's not a whole lot. Let's go to the Minnesota DMV. Going throughout and doing this, I noticed that there was a lot of back and forth that you wound up having to do. And I'm amazed as to how difficult it is to find everything and to track it all down. So again, that's why we made this video for our veterans. And to me, it just seemed to make sense. Veterans license plates. Minnesota. License plates, specialized plates. Perfect. There we go. How do we get our veteran plates? The veteran must submit a copy, like I said before, of his DD-214 showing that they were honorably discharged. And there are no date of service or combat duty restrictions. A one-time $30 contribution is due at the time of the initial application, used for construction of the Minnesota World War II Memorial. That's kind of great. Oh, this is so cool. So starting July 1 of 2024, this year, purchases of a motor vehicle by a veteran having a total service-connected disability are exempt from motor vehicle sales tax. Oh, that's pretty wicked awesome. I love that. That's super wicked awesome. Veteran taxes. Does Minnesota have disabled veterans plates? Yes, we already talked about that. Yeah, I think that sums it up for that one. So what have we gone through? We've talked about fishing and game licenses. We've talked a little bit about the medical side of things and some of the recreation stuff. We just touched on that, and that was about like the state parks and being able to camp virtually for free, which is kind of neat because especially if you come back, you need transition from active duty to civilian life. Maybe you want to take a few years or the rest of your years, but take a few years and just kind of live light as you learned while you were in active duty, and just kind of slowly transition out of the active duty mindset and getting into civilian life. But you want to be able to kind of camp on your own and things to be mentally quiet, if you will, to give you an opportunity to be able to travel and go all over the state of Minnesota. That's kind of cool. So Minnesota being your home base, and you kind of travel around there and potentially branch out, go overseas, do whatever you do. But we'd love it if you guys actually moved here. It's a great state to live in, great state for our veterans. Yeah, and with that, we'll wrap up and let's head on to the next segment. And last but certainly not least, we've got to get into the housing benefits, which is what we're very passionate about here. We love helping veterans make their move in and around the Minneapolis area. And again, like I said, if you're not moving to Minneapolis or the Twin City suburbs, feel free to reach out anyways, because we've got a huge network of referral partners that we trust, not just around the state of Minnesota, but across the country. So no matter where you're moving to, let us know. If you need some help, we can get you a trusted agent in that particular area. We've got a network all across these United States. All right, let's start out with property taxes. Buckle up, Buttercup. This is gonna be fun. Now, a lot of people are reluctant to move to Minnesota because, let's be honest, Minnesota's a bit of a flyover state. You know what I'm saying? It's in the Midwest, but hey, it's hardy. Hardy. It's not like California or Pennsylvania or New York or Dallas, Texas. It's, I don't know, maybe it's not as exciting. I love Minnesota. I don't get why people give crap to Minnesota. We have 10,000 lakes, people. 10,000 lakes. It's awesome. But even better is that you're a veteran. We freaking love you guys. And we take really good care of you, especially when it comes to taxes. So I apologize, I don't have a direct for urban suburbia, but as I understand it, and I'll read a little bit about this. Now, if you don't qualify for the service-connected disability, always make sure you put your homestead exemption in place whenever you buy a home. That's going to offer you some reduction of your taxes for the year. So that's in the state of Minnesota, and the state of Minnesota does have the homestead exemption, and that's offered to everybody that does take up residency here. It's not a second home. This is where you live primarily. So you can notice like your taxes, they kind of go boo, and they get cut. And once that happens, they kind of stay that way as long as you don't change your address. But depending upon, again, like I'd mentioned, depending upon your disability rating, there are going to be different ranges of what happens with your taxes. If you're 30 to 40, let's see, here's a couple of statistics. If you're rated from 10 to 29% for a disability, you can receive $5,000 for property tax exemptions. If you're 30 to 49%, you can receive $7,500 in tax exemptions. If you're 50 to 69%, you can receive $10,000 for tax exemptions. And if you're 70 to 99%, you can receive up to $12,000 of property tax exemption. And if you are 100% disabled, it will completely wipe out your property taxes here in Minnesota. And this is huge, big time, as we've been talking about for the last 5 minutes. And, however, it's important to, and this is why the DD-214, and we'll walk you through the disability paperwork, or rather, our loan officer will, not our, but the loan officer partner that we're working with for the VA stuff, for the VA loan, we'll walk you through, like, verify what level of disability that you are. And it's important to know that if you are even partially disabled, because that 25 to 35 to 5,000 to 7,500 to 12 grand makes a huge freaking difference on your monthly payment, especially if your taxes were like 5,000, but you actually had a fully disabled status. That $5,000, you figure that's like $500 a month more house that you could buy. I'm not going to get into all the significance, or not the significance, but the intricacies of it. But definitely leave a comment if you've got additional questions about this, because I really, really enjoy talking about these kind of nuanced things, or nuanced details rather. And it's better to do that just over the phone or over a Zoom conference, because we can take your specific situation and tailor it to be able to give you more of a complete answer. Okay, let's talk about property tax reduction services. Now, just because you have a down payment means that there is likely going to be a funding fee. So they talk about your loan officer is going to talk about this upfront funding fee. Now, when you've got partial disability status, generally, they will waive this on the VA loan. And again, remember, like I said in our last segment, this gets a little bit nuanced, because we really need to know what your level of disability is, because there's a percentage and there's thresholds that where the benefit gets more significant. So we'll talk more about that. Drop a comment below, or just reach out to us. Give us a call from the phone number that's there, the 1-866 number. Yeah. So let's talk other housing benefits. So another housing benefit for veterans here in the state of Minnesota is what's called the Veteran Housing Improvement Program. The Minnesota Veteran Home Improvement Program is a loan program that provides Minnesota veterans with below market interest rates to finance major home repairs. It's administered by the Minnesota Veterans Land Board. To be eligible, veterans must meet the following requirements. You must be a Minnesota resident, be a veteran who served on active duty for more than 90 days, or who was discharged from a service-related disability. You already have to own and occupy your own home, so to speak, and you have to have a good credit score. What does good look like? Again, a lot of that is nuanced. I'm not a licensed loan officer or loan originator, rather, and we can hook you up with one of our preferred partners. Down in the contact information below, feel free, give us a call on the 1-866 number. All right, last but certainly not least, VA loans. Let's talk a little bit about the VA loan, guys. The VA loan program can be anywhere from 0% down all the way up to, I think it's like you can put over 20% down if you would like to. And it just, again, there's a lot of details that goes into this, because whether you're a fully disabled vet, a partially disabled vet, depending upon your percentage, it impacts interest rate. It impacts how much you would need to put down, because a basic VA loan with just straight up is a 0 down loan. There's no mortgage insurance or anything of that sort on it, and there is an upfront fee, and that fee can be paid for in the closing costs. So you literally could be buying a house for less than $1,000, like upwards of 500 grand. So and more for that matter. So again, what matters is you guys get in the comments below, give me your first and last name, email address, whatever, or direct message me. And best yet, give us a call at the 1-866 number, and or request a Zoom call, because the link's down there in the description, and all you gotta do is click on that. It'll give you a list of available times and plunk you right in there, and we can talk all about it and get you set up and make sure that we can make your transition either into civilian life or just relocating within the state or in and around Minnesota, South Dakota, North Dakota, and Wisconsin. We do have referral partners around the area as well as across the United States. And I want to accentuate that point because we do have a very large network of professionals that do this full time and actually really enjoy working with veterans to be able to love and support you guys for supporting our country and risking your lives for us. So again, thank you very much for watching this video. My name is Garrett Hilton. Whether you're moving in 9 days, 90 days, or 9 months, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email. We would love the opportunity to make your move to Minnesota a smooth one. Stay classy.